Welcome to MSP Unplugged, TechCon Unplugged 2021 wrap up. I am your host, Jeff Hallish. This is our live show where we discuss different ways to run your IT business, whether it's managed services, consulting, break fix, or anything in between. Let me introduce my great co-host. We have Paco LeBron from Prodigy Techs. Paco, how you doing?
Better than I deserve, Jeff.
Awesome. And we also have the great John Dubinsky, also from Prodigy Techs and retired and doing everything that he can to have a great time in the great state of Florida. John, how you doing?
Jeff, I got you 5x5 as usual. It's really nice you guys let me on camera today. Thank you very much.
You're looking good. I like your background, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. So we're going to talk about TechCon Unplugged 2021. And we just put that into the books a couple weekends ago. Was it a couple weekends? One weekend? Two? Dude, I don't know.
Two weekends ago. Yeah.
2 weekends ago. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about why we think that in-person events are important. Let's start with that. And who wants to lead off the conversation answering that question?
I can start off. I think when we first did this back in 2019, we were talking about how, there wasn't really an avenue for our size type of IT professional, computer repair shop, MSP, hybrid, whatever term they want to be used. IT business owner will kind of stick to that. There wasn't really an avenue back in 2015. Saw some iterations of it, but we really thought that it was a different way to do it. And then after a lot of great success in 2019, we wanted to do it obviously in 2020. However, with a lot of the regulations and, for safety of people, we decided not to have it in 2020 versus having it in a virtual capacity. And I think a lot of people were saying how virtual was going to be the new get together. It was going to be the new way of doing conferencing and getting together and interacting. And although it was a great delivery content way, right, it has an ability to deliver great content. I think Channel Pro was a great example of how they were able to shift into the virtual realm. I don't think anybody has clipped that or figured out that nugget, cracked the egg, or however you call the damn phrase, but unable to get the interaction down. I think everyone was, that phrase, zoomed out, tired of looking at a camera and a screen, which is why we decided to do it in person this year and not do it in a in-person, not do it in a virtual setting, but really getting into a point where in-person really mattered. And it was to the point of understanding that in-person events is really where you get and capture that type of interaction, whether it's that one nugget you're looking for or bountiful information. I think it's just an ability to understand that you can see people, you can understand where they're coming from, and you just can't laugh as damn hard as we did on Thursday and Friday night that we did with a couple of our friends and vendors right at the hotel.
That's awesome. John, what do you say?
Well, I mean, there are a couple of real world examples that I would give is, your friends can't bring you a little pot when you're virtual. So that's one big thing. And, the second thing is I'll pick on Kyle Kenyon, Pro Tech guy, a little bit. He asked, I think, which was the conference question, or gets the award for the best question at the conference. And, something happened. There are two things. One, I think people misunderstood his question. And immediately we got tons of feedback in the room. He was asking about TP-Link, and I think it was during a firewall conversation, and everybody thought he was talking about TP-Link firewalls and using those for all his customers, when he was really talking about Omada and their switching, their ubiquity, sort of their wireless and switching thing. So, there was great feedback on the whole firewall thing, I thought, which I don't think you can get virtual, because you all saw the looks on everybody's faces what everybody thought the subject conversation was. And then, after the question, even I talked to Kyle for a little bit about, hey, Omada might be a great thing. Check it out. There's other people already talking about it online, trusted resources we all use. So, I think just that whole interaction, the feedback loop, the immediate response, the taking the risk for your fellow techs to call you out on what might be a mistake or stepping into it just so you can learn from it. So I thought that was great. And I give Kyle kudos for sticking it out there like that.
That's awesome. And hopefully we have a comfortable enough environment where people feel free to ask questions and interact like that. And that's, I think that's one of the things that we try to create when we're putting these events together, because without that, it's just a bunch of talking heads talking to people and not really interacting. And I think the interaction is the key point to what you're saying, John.
And I think that whole interaction kind of proves that out, because it was other ITs, the professionals, and the vendors jumped in. So that was really great.
That's very cool. So let's, Paco, let's start off with, well, obviously we came in on Thursday, kind of hung out on the back porch, had some humongously large pizzas. And just from the small, there was just a handful of people there. What was how would you gauge the audience at that point, at the right before the conference, the day before the conference even started?
Oh, it was terrible, Jeff. I think they were just ready to go home at that point. But no, I mean, I think, again, I think everyone was just ready to meet. And I think for a lot of guys and gals, they chose us to be their first in-person event to come to. And I think it was just because, we've always decided, like you mentioned, to have more of a not immediate, but more of a intimate setting, to have a smaller group, making sure that we can actually talk to everyone, get some FaceTime with vendors who were gracious enough to sponsor in a small event, especially with the numbers that we were hoping to have, but couldn't because of obvious things going on. But Thursday night was just, again, great time. We were at, like I said, the back porch. We had set up the rooms, and I think that interaction was what really a lot of people missed.
John, anything to add?
As I unmute myself, I don't know. I think that was kind of the let's check this out moment. I mean, we had everybody working hard to get there. It was great watching Ramey fall asleep eating his pizza. I think we were all feeling each other out, how we were going to do this COVID thing. I mean, we were outside, maybe, arms reach apart, but still getting together. And, really, probably the thing I noticed the most is picking up on faces and names that I saw in Grand Rapids, and then just picking up the conversation pretty naturally right from the start, as everybody started to freak out about their VoIP service going down due to everything that's happening now. So yes, it was great. I mean, we just got right on the rails and started moving forward.
Very cool. And I had some nice conversations where I was talking to, oh my gosh, and I can't remember his name at this point. Joe's buddy, Mike, thank you. Okay. Mike. So I'm sitting there talking to him, and I was talking about, being a fair bit old, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's, some days. And he's like, how old are you? And I said, 51. He's like, try 71. And I'm like, I just looked at him and I go, really? I said, I would have never thought you were 71. But apparently he does a lot of cabling for Joe Konazovich and helps him out there. And then later in the conversation during the weekend, we got to find out that, I called him my idol because he actually plays video games that I play, Destiny 2, things like that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I said, you're my idol, because at 70 plus, I want to be doing the same thing, playing video games. That's what I enjoy. So that was kind of cool to have those side conversations that you wouldn't normally have just virtually, paying attention online, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it was really cool just to interact and have real conversations, not just about technology or just about, IT business, but just real world conversations. And I think those are much needed, because people really, they love the interaction with other people and in finding out about people. So that's kind of cool.
Let's just be honest. Mike made us all look bad.
Yeah.
The way he runs around at his age. So.
I'm telling you, dude, I'm very, very impressed. So that was awesome. We also, let's move into Friday. So Friday we had event that you guys, because I had nothing to do with this, you guys put together with Matt Lee. And Paco, give an idea of what the room was like that day when everybody piled in and started learning during that session, because I thought this was a very unique thing that was going on as far as people just paying attention and really getting into the content.
Yeah, there was like party favors and streamers, and like there was madness going on in that room. But no, on a serious note, for those that don't know, Matt Lee, who is over at PAX 8 as their one of their director of security and infrastructure. I believe that's his proper title now. If not, Matt, you can kick me later. But I think that he was gracious enough to be able to give us his time and have the ability to train on really what Microsoft 365 is all about, especially with Endpoint Manager, which was formerly known as Intune, how to manage that information. I think it was a point where people this is a topic that people want to learn, but just either can't figure it because Microsoft makes things so damn hard to try and figure out on your own. And after a couple of walkthrough videos of other peers like ourselves, it just spawned that idea from me and John talking in his backyard on just understanding, like, man, this would be a really cool thing to have at the show. And Matt has done this plenty of times with PAX 8 before joining them officially. So I thought he was the best person for the job just because of the personality and him being able to explain it on a user level of how to implement this thing. But yeah, a lot of people were really involved. I think the presentation was great when it was split between a 2-hour presentation / 2-hour workshop. And really anyone trying to understand and getting his time to help get them coached through that. I think it was a great event, pre-function event, because it wasn't officially on the agenda for our actual conference, but it felt like a lot of people were there starting off the event that Friday in the mid-noon.
John, any other observations during that day?
Well, I think it was a benefit to just about every IT person. And what I mean by that, if I kind of take a step back, I even saw maybe a lot of residential guys in there. There may be or gals that are thinking about taking their shop to the next level. But I think Matt had a great demo that actually outlined or maybe gave the particular information that was needed for somebody to say, hey, this is the way I'm going to go, or even to the fact where it might have been, hey, this is not something I want to do. This is too much, or this is out of the scope for my size clients, that sort of thing. So I really felt it was like, a good, what is it, the typical big toe in the water to actually get a feel what's going on with some real world examples for somebody that could probably do it backwards, upside down in a mirror and, with his eyes closed. With that kind of professional level. And, I think it was a huge benefit that Paco got us that, normally a class like that might be $600 for somebody to go to. So I thought that was a huge win for everybody that attended.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. I working with Matt when we first came in the room and started setting his stuff up, and he came in, it was a few hours early. I want to say like at least 3 hours early, and took his time to set all this stuff up. And he had cameras and computers, and we hooked everything up to the screen, and it was like, he had all this stuff going on to make it an interactive function for the people that were there. And he's a great speaker and very entertaining, and just he's very light in his content and stuff like that. As far as you dig down deep, but he makes it so that you can look at it. And, obviously one of the things I heard a lot of people say was, can we get a copy of that? Because I remember 10% of what was going on. And Matt was gracious enough he had recorded that whole session on several different cameras and stuff like that. And we'll get access to it eventually. And we'll be able to make that available for everybody. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was saying, yeah. I mean, I think, again, the fact that I think the biggest piece is that he treated this as a professional event. What his setup, he wasn't there to wing it. It wasn't like, it was advertised as one thing, and then we just got, a whole conversation of it without bringing any equipment or gear or anything like that. He came prepared. He came exactly how we advertised it. It was definitely one of the greater sessions that was exactly how we had listed it on the agenda. It actually was what the agenda said.
That's cool. Very cool. All right, so let's go into Friday night. So Friday night, obviously, we had our little, I don't know what you call it, pre-party.
Our Friday night social, Jeff.
There you go, Friday night social. Yeah.
No. That was tacos with Paco. If I remember.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, there
Tacos
you go.
with Paco. There you go.
And the reason why we're saying that is because there was an actual taco stand for Friday night for our dinner.
Yes. So how did you guys feel about Friday night, the interaction of people, kind of people mingling? As we kind of touched on it a little bit in the beginning, having some side conversations with vendors and stuff like that. But overall, the feeling of the room, what did you guys think?
It was a really great event to see everyone there, right? I think that was the first time people were interacting with each other. We had all the vendors, our attendees, our peers. I think all around it was so great. But I think what's most memorable was at the end of the night where it was what, you, me, I think John was also sitting there, Amy, Luby from Acronis. I know there was 2 other members there, but we just had one of the best conversations and laughs in a long time that I've had.
Matt was there.
Oh, Matt Lee, right. Matt Lee was there.
I know what you're laughing at. Don't show me. I know what you're laughing at.
It's just one of those where that was the start of a great weekend. And it was just that conversation, because it wasn't, hey, what are you doing for your services? There was a little conversation. But we were just having a great time. It was an unwinding. We did talk shop. It was just that was a really, I just remember the laughter, and it's that saying where people don't remember what you say to them. People remember how you make them feel. And that was just one of those where it was just such a great conversation that we had there in the room, and MJ and Christina taking care of us at the bar, who helped coordinate all this with the hotel, gracious for their efforts. It was just a really great time. I think a lot of people really enjoyed themselves for Friday. Not much of an agenda, just it was more of an unwinding. You're here, let's chat before we go into the official weekend Saturday morning.
Well, I'll add on to that. We jumped into Back with the Revenue with Ninja right before dinner. So they had a good promo there. And I might need to get myself one of those wigs just so I can look like I did back in the day. But, I think one of the best things that we had going for us was probably one of our biggest hurdles as well was, the whole elephant in the room, the COVID thing, which definitely just reduced some of our numbers. Like we had our Canadian friends, Augment, couldn't make it down because they were scared they were going to get back. We had several ticket holders that didn't come with some scares, or even Brian Morris having a little scare right there the day of. So he didn't make it. But I also think it was a huge bonus for us because I think it's like the first time the dogs have been let out of the house for a long time. I think people were really ready to be out, be social, get their tech on. And I think when you get enough of us geeks together, we can actually be geeky without standing out. And I think that was a lot of fun.
Very good. I ran into a person that approached me Friday night, and I think his name was Patrick Osuma, and I didn't know where he had come from. And he basically had said he was actually a chemist, or he is a chemist. That's his full-time job. He learned about us from Kerry Holzman on Kerry Holzman's YouTube channel, and decided to come because he wants to get into computer repair, tech support, that type of thing. And he was like, even Friday night with some of the conversations and stuff were going on, he's like, I'm learning so much, and I really want to do this. And I'm like, and he's taking all this stuff, and I'm like, yep. I said, you know what? I said, you jump in, and I said, you learn as you go. And I said, there's plenty of people around you that will support you and help you, as far as you can ask some questions. You can listen to what other people do, and it will help you further your business that much farther along at a shorter pace, because a lot of us have already gone through those steps to get to where we're at. So I thought it was awesome to have somebody that hasn't even officially started a tech support business or a computer repair business or an MSP or whatever you want to call it. But he had that type of, you could see the passion, and it's just something he wanted to do. And I was like, that is really cool.
I'm glad he didn't ask me, because I probably would have said, are you insane?
Truth be told, yes. Oh, So obviously we had a great time. And the other thing, so going into Saturday, one of my concerns was always the later you stay out the night prior, we kind of started early. So we started at 7:45 the next morning for breakfast. And one of the concerns is always, well, if people are out late the night before and they don't get enough sleep and they don't get down to the conference room to get started right on time, kind of slows things up. And we had put a lot into a few short days, a lot of information, we had a lot of vendors, a lot of panels and stuff like that. And I was very, very impressed. People were there early. People got their breakfast. They sat down, they hung out. And it's at 8:45 when we kicked this thing off, as people were eating breakfast, boom, we went running into this. And so Paco, from that standpoint, from the beginning, paint a picture of what went on Saturday during the day, as far as from the audience standpoint and what was going on with vendors and stuff like that.
Well, no, I got to jump in because I really think the first presentation is really what made the day.
Absolutely, John. You're absolutely right. That was the best. Oh, yes. The best.
Yeah, I agree. It was the welcome remarks that Jeff did at breakfast, right? I think that was a great keynote that he gave.
I knew there's a reason you guys never let me come on the show. Anyway.
The monologuing. Yeah, that was John's. I'll tell you what, John, and kudos to John, because I don't do this ever. And people know that. John was up there from Thursday night all the way to even prior to coming down Saturday morning. John was prepping his presentation. And I'm telling you right now, it was a standalone presentation. He shared a lot of great information. He had a great slide deck, and I enjoyed just listening to him talk. So it was fun. It was a lot of information in a short period of time, because that was only a half hour, John?
Yes.
Yeah. And you packed a lot in there. And I think people, and you know what was cool about it is that really kicked off Saturday morning. And we wanted high energy. We wanted people laughing. We wanted people to get in the mood and relaxed and able to interact and ask questions and stuff like that throughout the rest of the day.
Well, I don't know about relaxed. I mean, John came in there pretty high intense when he slammed the door. I was like, all right, but I think the biggest phrase that came out of that is documentation is life. And I think that is one of those where, Saturday was definitely interesting. There was a lot of mix of vendors and peer panels. I think what we all decided to do was make Saturday more security focused, with all our security vendors, and then make Sunday operational with more of marketing and business operation and financial stuff. I think, Michael Crean with his presentation was really good, kind of highlighting a lot of, just horror stories on the vendor panel that we had. Down to like a Cronus with, Kramer Snuggs, who we'll have on the show here soon, kind of giving his timeline of him actually having a client that had been attacked by an incident and really trying to get that piece going. I mean, it was all great content, really good discussion, and really a good time for everyone to get and mingle inside the vendor hall. I think a lot of people had a lot of great opportunities to meet with vendors that they may not have met in the past. And it was all pretty much a good time all around for Saturday.
Well, I think a lot of people forget that we do. I know it all looks like this comes naturally to you two guys, but we do actually spend a little time planning all this. And, our focus was, as you kind of mentioned, Paco, that liability, security, what can bite you in the butt. That was Saturday. And then, Sunday was supposed to be more, I'll wrap that around Tom Bull, more money management, run your business. Tips to do that. So I think it worked out well. Yeah, and I'll tip my hat to a lot of the vendors too. A lot of security on Saturday, but you notice a lot of the vendors got up and didn't say a whole lot about their products, but more about the solution they provided or stories that they're running into or real world things, all the way from, malware bites, solutions granted. Help me out. Who am I missing here? Jeez.
There's so many.
Well, yeah.
For Saturday or
Yeah, and Saturday with all the other technical stuff.
Threat Locker. We
Threat
had
Locker. Oh yeah, big on Threat Locker. I think Threat Locker opened a lot of people's eyes. I think they were maybe the one that maybe got the most traction. I think people heard of Threat Locker but didn't really know what it was until they saw it on Saturday. So that was fantastic. Right. I thought.
Yeah, the content, as far as that's what we liked. We liked that vendors were not there just to sell; they were there to share, and stories in how they could help you in your business, or things to look out for in your business. Those real world scenarios, I think that is what is so key to learning, because obviously, and we've said this in the past, we want this symbiotic relationship where vendors support us, but we also support the vendors for the products and services that we need on a regular basis. And there's plenty of products and services out there. There's plenty of vendors and all that, but it's nice to have a vendor come in and just share from the heart. Hey, here's a real story. Yeah, Kramer Snugs, I'm telling you, here's a guy who shares when one of his businesses goes down because of ransomware. Nobody shares that stuff. Everybody's scared to share. I was compromised. There's two types of people in the world. There's those that have been compromised and those that haven't been compromised yet. There's only two types. That's it. So look out, because it's going to happen. And so when you look at that stuff, you want those real world stories to help you in your business to go, okay, it's okay. There are solutions out there that will help me get out of this and do what I need to do on a regular basis and not have a panic moment. Now, obviously everybody's going to panic over it because nobody likes this, right? When you get hit, when your customer gets hit with ransomware, but to have a solution in somebody that's gone through it, that is pure gold.
Yep. And that was the bell for you to. No, I'm kidding.
Ding, ding, ding. So obviously we had a great time, and Saturday was a great day. I mean, literally, and I don't know if you guys felt this, but it felt like we packed a lot of stuff in a short period of time, even though we went from 8:45 to, what was it? 5 o'clock, 5:30?
4:30?
4:30 was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it was a lot. But then we said, all right, now it's time to go get some dinner and drinks and stuff and relax.
That's not what happened. You said, I need a Red Bull and vodka. Let's go.
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true at all. We no, but like you said, I think we had to unwind, and I think that was a big piece of kind of continuing that conversation and having that restaurant available to us. Five Roses Pub was gracious enough to close off about 2/3 of the restaurant for us. With the numbers that we had, they were very gracious with the service. Again, thank you to Acronis for providing the Friday night or the Saturday night social to us. They really helped bring that social to the level of where it was. I think we all had a great time eating, having conversations. It was a great time in general. And I think it was a good call for us when we made the last minute switch from where we were at in 2019 from Dave & Buster's, because I think there were some meaningful conversations happening. I think a lot of other partners and vendors talking to others, and some made it just kind of fully just an unwind. There were others that were just trying to soak up as much knowledge as possible from people. I think everyone had a really great time. It was perfect weather. We had the patio available. So, I mean, it was a really good time. I think all of us can agree we all had a really great time to go there. And, trying to get into the morning Sunday to kind of round it out.
John, what was your gauge on the whole after event that night on Saturday night, as far as what was going on with just the interactions with people and stuff like that?
A+. We got to be honest. We got lucky with a couple things. The weather for the entire conference, especially in Illinois, you never know what's going to happen, was outstanding. I mean, perfect temp. No jacket needed. Plenty of sun. So that was great. Yeah, and I saw a lot of movement around. I just can't remember his name. He's got a fantastic haircut like my own, but he was out there on the dance floor cutting a little rug, having a brain fart. Can't remember his name. So everything from just breaking loose, having a little time, cutting loose, having some fun, and then just sitting around shooting the information on a good level with each other. So yeah, Saturday was excellent, I thought, and I do agree, maybe a little bit better location to have more of a one-on-one discussions or more together time versus pushing the button on a video game. Although that was fun too, I don't want to discount that, but I think it kept us all together a little better.
And I agree. And at first, when Paco brought that up of switching from Dave and Buster's to this pub, it was like, but I'm so glad we did it, because I agree. I was able to actually walk around after eating some food and stuff there and talk to different people. I remember talking to the Huntress guys, Dave Client landed over there, and his partner, and I was sitting there talking. We were talking about old video games and stuff like that, and just kind of hanging out and just having that nerdy talk. And then went over the ninja table and was able to hang out with the ninja team. And I was everybody was cracking up, laughing, having a good time. And it was just, I don't know that it was a little different at Dave and Buster's from what I remember.
Yeah.
Being our first event and stuff like that. It wasn't as close knit, like you were saying, John.
Let's address the elephant in the room. I mean, not that elephant, the other elephant. The real reason we did it is because, everybody loves the breakout sessions. And when we had a smaller group and a couple of other people to do this, I mean, that is sort of a goal of ours. But, a big part of breakout sessions is finding somebody like a Matt Lee that is an authority in whatever topic we're going to provide, so that we, as a consensus, always try to provide value by whoever's speaking. And then again, I'll say, finding somebody like Matt Lee who can actually present, that does a good job at that. That can be maybe semi-entertaining as well as truly informative and an authority matter subject. Breaking that down so that we bring a real value for the time and effort for whoever is attending the conference can be difficult if we wanted to break out into 10 different sessions or 10 breakout rooms or something like that to give people more choice. And on the back end, we would also have to find a location that would provide us more room to do that. We did get feedback on that. We've heard that, and we have some ideas. Paco has actually some great ideas on how to address that, possibly on a macro or micro level moving forward. So, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. And, that's one of the reasons Paco had the idea of moving it. And I think it was a great idea that we did that. So hats off to Paco on both of those things.
Yep. Kudos.
Well, I was just thinking of liability. I didn't want to get sued for people walking across the street of that on Balmoral. It's around the corner for this place. No, I'm kidding. I think, like you said, I mean, it was a great position. I mean, so what kind of caused this was I was trying to figure out, all right, let me go down, because I've been to Rosemount a couple times, but I haven't really stayed to enjoy kind of all the new development that's been there. So me and my fiance decided to go ahead. We stayed the weekend, try to kind of take a look at what the area was, understand the entertainment district. She's been in the entertainment district a few times in the past, so kind of educating me on what's kind of been around. And Christina at the hotel was nice enough to connect us with a couple people managing each place. And we there was a lot to consider. I mean, I think there was there was a barbecue place, there was a Mexican place for Mexican food. There was for Irish food in a pub setting. And, what was one, accommodating, two, understanding that this is going to be a lot of people. How is the room? But three, making sure we take into consideration everyone's dietary restrictions, because what I didn't want to happen is we go into Bub City, which is a barbecue place, and then they're cooking the stuff with the same fat lard that, that's not to that complete ability. So, and plus the smell, trying to think of our attendees was first foremost, which is what brought me to selecting that. But again, also it helped where it was right around the corner of the hotel. And I know that a lot of us hate to walk. So this was a shorter walk to get to where we needed to go. And if someone just happened to have, the ability to have a little too much fun, they can find their way back if they needed to. I think me and John ended up getting back at 3 a.m. and started playing pool on downstairs with Matt Lee. I mean, it was that
yeah,
type
I got
of,
my butt whipped by Matt. Yeah, that was he did the mic drop with the pool stick, and I just think he walked away as I watched all his balls go in the hole as mine sat. Yeah, that was ugly.
So yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of people did stay out late that night. And when I talked to them the next morning, I'm sitting there talking to people and checking out what people were doing. And again, this is something that you don't always get, but you had most of the people, especially the attendees, were there early in the morning for breakfast, ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I think because they were there, they wanted to enjoy and have fun. And that's part of what we do. But at the same time, they wanted to also learn, because that's what they paid for, right? To come here, their time, their effort, their money, the hotel, all that kind of stuff. Even with the great deals that we provided with the hotel rooms and the parking and all that, it was great. Shuttles from the hotel or from the airport. You still spend a little bit of money to do something like this, but I think we made it affordable enough for a lot of different types of people to do it. And that's really what we wanted.
Yeah, I think everyone was raring to go Saturday morning. Sunday morning, it took a little bit of catching up for them to kind of get into the morning, but it was definitely a good start to both days.
And Tom Bowles started that session off in the morning and had a really good presentation. And that was great to hear. He had a great slide presentation he put together. Very, very cool. And
I think he was a great one to have the day fired up.
Yes.
Too. He did a good job. He's
Absolutely.
a very good speaker. He was very prepared for his subject matter. Yep. And it was very relevant to all business owners. So I thought he was the perfect fit for that morning slot.
Well, I now know the difference between margin and what was it? Margin and gross profit, or what was the two? I forgot what it was that he said.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, that was my takeaway.
So going into the rest of Sunday, so obviously everybody came down. We were eating breakfast, all that kind of stuff. Some people were hungover a little bit. What the rest of that day? What was the vibe in the room and the stuff that was going on in the room, as far as obviously we're getting to this is the closing day. Was it as still high energy as it was from Saturday? Were people still engaged and entertained to learn and kind of get something from that Sunday?
It was very sluggish, but no, I think it was still equally impactful. I think that, like you said, Tom Bull, we had Jennifer Bleem with her video marketing. I think that was a very big highlight. A couple people had mentioned,
yes,
talking about, which was really great. I think a lot of people are trying to understand how to do more video. There's an attendee there, Dan from Tech Runner IT. We've interacted on LinkedIn a lot because he has a lot of great video content as well. And kind of, it's interesting. He just started off with a whiteboard and kind of talking about password management and things like that, quick 60 seconds deals. And now he's invested, he's got green screens, he's got the whole, and you can just see that progression and how video marketing doesn't have to be fancy up front. You just have to do it. And so that was a really great session, along with Matt and Ramey's presentation from Tech Marketing Engine, talking about how to energize your sales pipeline. I think those were all great sessions that really talked about how to really work on the operational of your business. And then there was a lot of peer panels too that really talked about, documentation and things of that nature on a very high, broad view on how to do some of those things.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And I think you're right. I think the morning started with a lot of knuckle dragging, people coming in. I think Tom Bull started with an injection of great information. And I think people kind of woke up when they saw that. Then we had Ryan from Datto bringing that home. I believe Synology opened a couple eyes on that day too. I believe they went, if I'm not mistaken. And then, we had a lot of good tie-in. Knock on wood, I think we got a little lucky between Jennifer and Matt and all that. And then we also had Jason and Marvin bringing the goods too that day, which, they're kind of fan favorites. Obviously, peers in our group, which are professionals and a lot of people respect. And I think it kind of ramped up, went from that 0 to 100 throughout the day with both vendors and peers bringing a lot of good information.
I agree. Yeah, it was a fully packed day, almost to the point where we're like going, did we go a little bit too long on Sunday? Maybe not. But no, we had a lot of good stuff. And then obviously at the end of the day, we had all the giveaways, and vendors really stepped up. They had things to give away. I think something had gotten given away. I think Mike and Laura Wise, actually Laura, Mike won it, but Laura took it. The $300 from, I think it was from Threat Locker over at the pub when they did that giveaway there. And so there was a lot of interaction. And then Taz, he basically brought the goods again. He'd gotten a bunch of stuff from Amazon, some Amazon gift cards and some readers and keyboard covers and stuff like that. And he brought stuff to the event free of charge and just said, hey, give this stuff away. And we really appreciate Taz doing that.
And that's Mike Cooley, if you don't know Taz.
Yes.
Yeah, he is an outstanding member of our community. One of the best.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So let's give our final synopsis of the weekend event. Was it worth it? Did it seem like it was worth it to everybody? I know I was spent on the end of day 2 or day 2.5, whatever it was, Sunday evening. I think John and I crashed and ordered a pizza and just basically Paco went back home because we were all we packed up and everything and got everything put away and all that kind of stuff. And
I think good. I went to your room. We ate that pizza. I went up. I had intentions of going out, but I woke up the next morning with my phone full of alerts of where are you? Why aren't you over here? You were supposed to text me. And I saw all the fun stuff that people did that night. But yeah, I was with, so I'm with you.
Yeah. And it was funny because I actually got up. So Monday morning, so I was sleeping, and Monday morning, for some reason I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was I guess I was rested enough or whatever, and I was like, I might as well get on the road. So I got out. So I got a shower and everything, and got on the road about 5:30 a.m. Missed all the Chicago traffic, so I was kind of glad I left at that time. Went straight through.
Thank you very much.
What's that?
You left it for me. Thank you very much.
What time did you end up leaving?
I think I left about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I sat in downtown, coming around the loop about 90 minutes.
Yes. So, so I got
there's
home by
one
11
negative on Chicago if you're driving.
Yes.
So
exactly. And there's no way to avoid it. That's the only way to get there, right? So.
Oh yeah. Well, there's basically two ways. There are two main highways. If you take one, the other one will be clear. If you take the other one will be clear. So That's the way it works for me.
Roll the dice. So, anyways, Paco, final synopsis of the whole event and takeaways. Anything that people should be looking out for in the future.
So a couple things. Final synopsis. Really appreciate everyone showing up. Just shows us that you are wanting to support us as we continue to keep doing this. We do this for you all. If you all said, yeah, we're not feeling this anymore, that's when we're going to stop. So if you do decide to tell us that, make sure to tell us that. And really it's just trying to figure out what's the next best thing. How are we going to get better? How do we really provide value? And it's not the same thing over and over again. I think that, we had this fear in 2019 of how do we make it better? And this was something that was different on its own, and a lot of people had fun. So we will be sending out a survey today to everyone. This will be the official survey. So we'll take your details from here. And then I know that Marvin over at Podnuts Pro sent out a survey as well. So we'll take a look at that survey when he sends us those details that he mentioned, that he'll get us that info as well. And for those that are looking to figure out what's next and how, you still have that in-person feel, trying to figure out what you want to do. There's a couple events coming up from our good friends over at Channel Pro. They're going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's going to be, I believe, October 6th or 7th. We will have the link in the show notes. I'll put it in the chat now. But if you use the promo code TCVIP21, that is Tom, Charlie, Victor, India, Paco 21, you will actually be able to get free admission into that conference. So there is also another one in Los Angeles. I believe that's in November. I could be wrong. Same code, TCVIP21. We'll also make sure to put that link in the show note as well. And then Acronis. Acronis is having their Cyber Summit October 25th to the 27th in Miami. Feel free to head over to their website, you'll be able to register there as well if you are in the need to find some more in-person events. And then last but not least, Channel Futures will have their MSP Summit November 1st and 2nd. I will be speaking at that event virtually in one of the sessions, so feel free to catch me there / meet up with me, and that'll be in Las Vegas. So if you're itching for an in-person conferences, those are 3 great opportunities. We will make sure to put those links in the show notes. But yeah, we really thank you a lot for kind of everything that we've done so far. We'll get that survey out, and we will officially be back September 2022. Just be on the lookout for the dates as we figure out where we're going to be. One of those survey questions are, do we want to have it back in Chicago, go back to Grand Rapids, or maybe somewhere a little bit new like St. Louis? So stay tuned. We'll get you all that details hopefully here before the end of the year so you can pre-order your ticket for next fall.
John?
No, I don't think I can wrap anything up better than that. I'll see you all in the MSP Unplugged Facebook group. A little shout out to Diana Giles and Jason Chamberlain, our 2 newest members. Got a couple new members coming on board since the conference, so that is great. If you need anything, poke me there, and that's it. I'm already looking forward to next year.
Cool. One of the things I wanted to say, I should have done this a little earlier, but we'll go ahead and do it now. If you would like to support this show, shameless plug, go to patreon.com/MSP Unplugged. And I want to thank our newest Patreon supporters, Alexander Wirt and Martin Jonas. I also want to thank everyone that continuously supports us. We definitely appreciate it. And it gives us a little shot in the tank of people wanting the information and are willing to give up a little bit of their hard-earned money just to, basically a buck a show. It also gets you into a secret Facebook group where you can interact, like John just talked about, with other like-minded peers and learn and share information. And that's basically the way the world works and goes around. So with that being said, I don't think there's anything else. Paco, is there any other things that we got to talk about, or I think we're good?
Just catch us every Tuesday at noon Eastern, 11 Central on this fine channel on youtube.com/MSP Unplugged.
And subscribe and hit that notification button so that you never miss an episode. You can also use your favorite podcasting app to take us with you wherever you go. Now, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time on MSP Unplugged.